What up, everyone? Welcome to episode 63 of Pull Up with Miles and Owen. Today, we're doing a slightly different format. We have Aneesah Morrow joining the show in just a moment. We're going to get to that conversation in a second here. It was absolutely delightful. She rocks. But first, we got a lot to discuss, and we haven't really had the format to do it recently. We're in early August. It's about a month left in the regular season, so we just wanted to start top of the show before we get to the Aneesah conversation and talk a little hoops. There's a ton going on. The trade deadline today, when you're hearing this, already a lot of movement. Brittany Sykes has just been traded to the Seattle Storm. Dejanay Carrington to the Minnesota Lynx. Nalissa Smith a few weeks ago traded to the Aces. A ton is going on. Miles, my guy, how are you? And what are you looking forward to here with the stretch run with about a month left until the playoffs?
Well, already we got maybe more moves than we feel like we normally get with those
Yep.
three, and obviously what New York did in bringing in Emma Misamon. So there's some stuff happening on that front too. But I am just excited about what that everyone is really clustered between 2 and 10, but also that fight for that eighth spot because you brought up the Brittany Sykes trade, and that is a white flag a bit from the Mystics. And you and I are on the same page with this. We love it. We love that the Mystics are just like, no, this is not our year. We have a rebuild plan. They were basically the only team that we saw going into this season that was willing to punt for another year, and they got three first round picks this season, and now they have three first round picks for next season. I really love that. Just I don't know, the kind of forward thinking move, because realistically they were not going to be knocking off the Lynx or the Liberty or the Mercury or a lot of those teams at the top. So that kind of longer timetable suits them. They've got the young talent, but they were also able to get so much out of Slim as a leader. So yeah, I'm curious if by the time this drops tomorrow morning, there's more movement with some of the vets on that team too. But that last spot, I don't know if this is a hot take, but the Sparks are coming in hot right now. They've won 8 out of 10. Second half Sparks. Cam Brink is back. Kelsey Plum is playing the best basketball she has all season right now. Azare's had a terrific season, probably the best of her career. De'Aric has been great. Rickea Jackson has really turned it on in the last bunch of games ever since our boy Lucas Kaplan said that she was having a tough season. So shout out to Lucas on that one. It's just a really fun race that's happening there. And unfortunately, friend of the pod, former Liberty, current Valkyrie, Caleb Thornton went down with a season-ending injury at the start of the second half. So the Valkyries, who have been such a feel-good story, might be a little bit vulnerable for that eighth spot. So there's a lot happening there, and I think that's what I'm mostly looking forward to see where those matchups fall. How about you?
Yeah, the race for the eighth seed is awesome right now. The Sparks are just playing so well. And we got the Sparks here in Brooklyn a few weeks ago, and they had started to hit the stride. And it was impressive hearing Lynn Roberts talk about what was happening. Because when we had gotten them previously in the season, I was like, this team's like a bit of a mess, low key. And when they came back, it was like something had switched and they were dialed. Rakia's just playing unbelievably well. Some of the buckets she had last night in their win over Indiana, I guess it'll be two nights ago when this drops, were filthy, just ridiculous finishing. Her variety in terms of how she's able to score is so impressive to me. Like you said, Kelsey Plum just absolutely hooping, sharing the ball like that. That's always been the thing for her when she's such a capable passer, and when that ball is moving, it's like her teams are pretty unstoppable on offense. And Rakia hit that game winner here in Brooklyn a few weeks ago, and it was like, okay, this team is serious. Like they want to make the playoffs. And to your point, Washington is moving as smart as any team in the league right now. And they understand not only did we kill the draft this year, not only is this year a massive success for us because our rookies look fantastic, but also it is very advantageous for us to miss the playoffs. Like Washington will jump multiple teams. The lottery teams that are going to be drafting 1 through 5 this year have a massive advantage over team 6 and 7, the expansion teams. So if you make the playoffs and you're the 8 seed, like it's not where you want to be, because you're going to be losing multiple spots of value. And I think Washington understands that. They understand that they have a really solid, good veteran player on an expiring contract, and you want to miss the playoffs this year with a young team. So I love that move for them. For me, I think I'm most excited about the Phoenix Mercury. Like I think that this stretch run is going to be really fascinating for them. They've got a lot of moving pieces right now. And they have a superstar in the middle of the MVP race. So you have Alyssa Thomas, who is just triple double after triple double. And it's like, what could be more fun than watching someone who's, constantly been the disrespected superstar of this league, uh, just try to go on a run. And she doesn't care about the personal accolades. The team doesn't. They've got a lot to figure out before the playoffs, just in terms of a bunch of different pieces that have to fit and that haven't really played together that much. But I'm really excited to see what that team is able to do, because with Nafisa Collier's injury right now, it's like that MVP race is wide open.
Yeah, yeah. And it was really funny coming into the season. They make all those moves, and we say, okay, this is a team that's super top heavy. Do they have the depth to compete? Because they had players that had had injury history that we were concerned about. And they get hit with those injuries, and that depth is not only there, but it is excelling. And the first bumpy part of their season in terms of win-loss record is when they're trying to reintegrate all those pieces. And it was everybody stepping up for them, got them off to that hot start, has them in the mix for that 2 seed or that 8 seed with how closely bunched all these teams are. But they've been such an exciting team this year. And I think that it just goes to show that like smart smart pickups from undrafted players, but also really savvy veterans that they added. And what we were never able to see in Connecticut was surround Alyssa Thomas with shooters, and she will create good offense for you. So Phoenix is such a great story for the season, and I think that's a great call out there. Um, all right, I think we should get into this conversation because Aneesah was terrific. She joined us on behalf of CarMax, and I was able to see the CarMax had an installation set up at WNBA Live at All Star last month, a couple of weeks ago, and Aneesah did this program with them, and they're one of the WNBA's change makers, and that we've seen kind of grow year after year after year, and it's cool to see these big corporations just have such a, I don't know, such a platform that they then want to grow that awareness within women's sports. The commercials that CarMax has done have become a staple. So I think it's a really cool thing that they're doing, and we're grateful to have had this opportunity. So let's just get right into it.
We are very excited to welcome the seventh overall pick in the 2025 WNBA draft. She was voted by the U.S. Basketball Writers Association as a first team All-American with LSU this year. And now she's killing it with the Connecticut Sun. Aneesah Morrow, thank you so much for joining us. How's it going?
It's going good. Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have you. You're here with CarMax, who you worked with throughout All-Star Weekend, and I was able to pop over to that activation to Indy, see that booth and the whole setup there. So just a quick two-parter to start. How did this partnership come about, and what were some highlights for you at All-Star Weekend?
Yes, I just wanted to work with a company that aligned with my goals, and that's being able to empower and continue to show the love for women's sports. I know that my values align with theirs, and that's the most important thing. But being in the WNBA live and being able to interact with fans was amazing. I know normally I'm just in the games. I'm not really able to interact or have conversations. Seeing some of my LSU alumni come in and young athletes themselves that want to make it to the W or potentially play in the pro leagues. It was great to be able to connect with them.
That's awesome. And you're in this like first generation of athletes that got to experience NIL at the college level and now have some of these partnerships and see how that translates as a pro. And you talked about being intentional about those partnerships that you make. I feel like there's been a lot of bad faith misinformation out there about that transition. But what was it like for you? And do you have more ownership in those deals now?
Yes, I feel like when we first all started, NIL, a lot of people didn't really know how to go about it. I feel like it's still a process of learning and getting those things done, but I have a great support system with me, my agency, that's been helping me with that. And those brand deals have been coming. And there's a lot more to still come. So we know that, my team know that, and that's all that matters.
The talent in women's basketball right now is like off the charts. So I've got another two-parter for you. First, like, was there anyone who you've gotten to play against yet that you kind of grew up trying to emulate in any way in terms of like the vets of the league? And then what is it like just being a part of this younger generation in women's basketball that's taking things to such incredible heights?
Yes, I would definitely say I always watch Asia Wilson, but majority these last 2 years I've really been watching Side two, and she's a unicorn. You know, she could play in the post, hold her own, but also be able to defend and guard the three position, potentially even play in the two sometimes. So she's a mismatch nightmare, and that's how I want my career to be. But going off the second question, like being able to come in here, I've learned a lot. I've been a sponge. Been around a lot of great players, efficient players, and I do have people that are mentoring me within the league, and that's very important to have those people supporting you throughout your process. Everybody's journey is going to be different, and you have to understand that and embrace that.
It's pretty great as a rookie to be able to learn directly from Tina Charles. How has Tina already, as a rookie, affected your game, if at all? And do you have any favorite Tina anecdotes?
I would definitely say learning the speed of the game. One thing that we always talk about in practice is pro is slow, but at the same time very efficient. And that's something that I've learned just by watching the game or watching her be able to be dominant in the inside and the post. And a favorite thing that I would say is honestly just seeing her learn a lot more about our generation and make TikToks and things like that and just enjoy the new transition of the league.
In prepping for this interview, we were watching some TikToks and saw you and Sanaya together. And I found this quote that I remember from draft night where Sanaya found out that you guys were on the same team. And she said, "That's my dog. So happy to be playing with her." And I was literally telling people playing against her in the W is going to be so tough. I had to guard her in the Sweet 16. And I was just like, we're not doing that. So to be able to play with Sanaya and not against her, what has that experience been like? And how is that camaraderie when you're competitors literally like 1 week and then teammates in the next?
Yeah, it's been really good. I would say also coming into a team with their both being rookies, of course, Ray as well, coming in with that rookie class really matters, because they're kind of going through the same process as you. They're learning the same way that you are. We're both in this, and coming in at the same time. So I would say that has really been good. Being able to play against her athleticism, we talk about it all the time, still to this day, playing in the Sweet 16 and going at each other. And she was like, "Yeah, you got quiet." I'm like, "Yeah, because you blocked my shot. Like I had to lock in, you know." We trying to go to the Elite Eight. So just being able to see how competitive she is on the floor and you feed off that energy as well.
Going back to the TikToks for a minute, I gotta ask, like, because I've been seeing this amongst all of the teams where like vets are slowly starting to like be involved in the TikToks. What's the process like to get Tina to agree to be in a TikTok?
Honestly, the first TikTok that she did, she asked us to be in it. She was like, "Hey, I've been seeing this TikTok, and I want to do it." And we taught her, and then we ended up practicing probably like 3 or 4 times. She got it, and that's her favorite TikTok. And she's like, "That's the only one that I know." But she asked us to actually do the TikTok, so that was a little different. But we be trying to get her to get some of them and do a lot. But she'd be like, "Some of these TikToks are hard to do."
That's awesome. I want to go back a little bit because I read you grew up in a very competitive household, sports always around. And what were some of the pickup games like? Like they had to have been incredible.
Yes, they were incredible. A lot of trash talk. It was very physical in the backyard, us playing against each other, and a little bit of scrapes on the knee, getting knocked down, talking stuff and everything. But I would say that's just that competitive nature within my family, and I feel like it shaped who I am today and the way that I play on the floor. Like we're competitive, we're hard nosed, we play with that grit and determination, but also like we love on each other while still playing our sport. And I feel like that's the most important part about being a good teammate within the league. That's very important, uplifting your teammates, trying to encourage them as well, because everybody won't have the best day on the floor and being able to realize that and be that supportive teammate.
You're one of the most prolific rebounders in NCAA history, and I read that you played volleyball and kind of used that as a way of owning rebounding skills. That's such like an interesting cross sport thing to me. Like, can you just elaborate on that and how you used one to help you with the other?
Yes, when I first started playing volleyball, it was just for fun. I was trying to find a different sport outside of basketball that I could still be competitive but have fun with it. I feel like when I was young, I was so like intense and determined to get everything done with basketball, but I wanted to be able to play a sport while still having as much fun as I possibly can. And that's not to say that I wasn't having fun playing basketball, but just, like just being around my peers, and a lot of my peers wasn't on the basketball team or couldn't make the basketball team, but volleyball, like everybody was there, and I was able to have fun there. And my mother was my coach for both sports, volleyball and basketball, but I learned a lot about timing, spacing, keeping an eye on the ball, but also footwork. I feel like that's very underestimated within volleyball. You have to have really good footwork, knowing when to jump, the timing, the IQ of the game, and being able to track the ball so you can be able to spike it. And for me, that's what helps me in basketball, being able to track the ball, having good footwork, doing your work early, especially being a little bit undersized in the inside. You have to do your work early, be a little bit physical, but have really good footwork.
As someone who's watched a little bit of volleyball on television, and I'm always like incredibly impressed. And it just seems like, nailing a spike is like one of the most cathartic things that could happen in sports. Like how good does that feel as someone who I have no idea what that feels like?
It feels great. I'm not gonna lie. It feels great because you know that it's some spikes that you miss, some blocks that you miss, and you like, dang, like my hand should have been there. Or I should have timed that a little bit better, and I could have got a kill. It feels great because you know the process of not only getting under the ball, but also being able to time it, being able to get that footwork in, and when your opponent not able to play the best of defense, that feels great for sure.
Would you rather have a spike in volleyball or a big block in a basketball game?
I would say a spike in volleyball.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember I played volleyball for a bit, but like later in life where I played on like my work team. And I grew up playing basketball too. And the hardest thing for me to adjust was like staying in my area. I was trying to roam way too much and I was just like, I could get there, and that doesn't mean you should get there. And there's just so much communication there. Is that one of the most difficult things to counter when you're in volleyball versus basketball?
Honestly, I wouldn't say it's one of the most difficult things. I feel like the style of play that I'm in right now, it has a lot of communication. You have to know your calls on how you're going to defend certain screens, and if you're going to ice, if you're going to hard hedge, like you have to know those things. And I feel like it's the same thing with volleyball. Like you have to be able to say, "This is mine." Like I got this area, and your teammates have to trust in that and have confidence that you have their back. And I feel like it's the same things when you're guarding screens within the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that we had circled on the calendar is that you're going to be going to Chicago next month for the first time as a pro.
Yeah.
Is that something that's on your calendar? Are you counting down to August 23rd when you get to play in front of some friends and family for the first
Yeah.
time there?
Yes, I'm definitely counting that down. Being able to go back and play in front of my family. Also being able to play at DePaul, like that's where my career started, my college career, and being in the city again. Like that love for Chicago, being Chicago's own, being able to come back and play in front of my peers, my family. It's going to be amazing. And I'm still going to be going up against Angel. That's my teammate. But I feel like it's going to be a really good game.
Do you have any controversial hot dog opinions? Because I know with Chicago, you guys don't mess around about Chicago dogs.
I really don't eat hot dogs, so I can't say anything about
That
it.
might be the controversial opinion. We had Ka on a little while ago, and she was the exact opposite.
We know you got to get out of here. You've got things to do, but we want to close on a fun note because you've been killing it on the court, but you've also been killing it with the runway fits. Do you have any fashion influences, like any fashion icons in the league or otherwise that you've tried to emulate or that's influenced your style? And then who's your top fits in the league?
Um, I would say before getting into the league, someone that really like I tried to influence my style a little bit is Asia Wilson. I feel like she has a lot of fun with her outfits, like when she does her hair to match it and everything like that. Like I feel like she has a lot of fun with her outfits. And I would say somebody like outside of league would be like Tiana Taylor. I like to be a little bit more tomboyish. And then some days I could switch it up and be very, feminine within what I wear. So I would say those two. And yeah.
I love that. Asia's always killing it with the jersey dresses. And
Yeah.
then I also love how it's like there might be a week where it's just white tees,
Yeah.
like that's gonna mix it up.
Aneesah, thank you so much for taking the time and for working with CarMax. And it's great to see you on the court succeeding, but also getting these deals because you deserve it. You deserve to be a household name, and we're excited to watch your career continue to blossom and grow. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much for having me.